I'm just gonna be honest real quick, guys. I am not feeling extremely well. Truth be told, before I started recording this, oh boy, that, just not feeling great. So if I sound terrible, I do apologize. But, you know what, I have 5 orbs, got them from saving up dailies, might as well try them out. Cool, didn't get a single red, but, I mean, there's green, might as well try it, see what we get. I really doubt we'll get anything, but you never know. No? Well, maybe we got something nice. Oh! Well. Yeah. Alrighty, so, I actually had to reset the game because it was lagging terribly. Also, I was not feeling extremely well, but still that Titania pull was pretty cool. I'm really happy about that. Oh boy, not feeling too great, but I don't know why I'm recording this. But I wanted to talk about it because, well, I feel kind of passionate about it, and I know people were kind of upset that I sent Mist here home. And I figured it would be a good idea to kind of talk to you about it and see what you guys think. So, and get your general opinion on it. So Mist, in her own right, she's a healer, and, you know, healing units, staff units, right now in this game, I feel are grossly just underused, you know, not really underused, but underperforming is probably the better word. And I think it's just mostly because right now, as you know, as it is with your team setup, and especially since we haven't really had any defense missions outside of Chapter 10, we haven't really, you know, had really the excuse to bring along any sort of healing units, especially when those healing units, you know, they take up a spot on your team. A spot that might be better used for another unit, even if that unit is probably not the, you know, not something that can actually help out with the whole healing department. You generally just do better because these things can do more damage, or they're a bit beefier and they can take hits. And instead of, you know, wasting your slot on something that might be, you know, just kind of weird when it comes down to healing, it's a little weird. And honestly, I don't think it was even a good idea to use, you know, 20k feathers on a wrist here because, or prize, whichever one you want, because healers, they really just function a lot like how dancers do, where if you bring, you know, if you bring one along, you really don't have to worry about star rank for the most part. Do you want to know one of the better healers, honestly, in the game right now? I'll show you her real quick. And I know I have her because I think I had a +1 from, like, yep, I do. I had a +1 from ages ago when I was messing around with a merging system. That was me when I was new. Anyways, this is Clarine. She is probably one of the better healers. She has, of course, movement of a cavalry unit. Cavalry, whichever one. People say cavalry, and I say cavalry. But still, just wanted to point that out for those who can leave comments. I'm kidding. But anyways, this is Clarine, and I'm gonna kill this cord. I want the new one here. I'm gonna actually upgrade this device, but still. Anyways, this is probably one of the better ones, and the reason being is that her attack is not her main point, her main focal point. Instead, it's more speed, defense, and resistance, as well as a bit of HP. Her stat growths are mostly in those territories. Granted, she does get a bit of attack, but when it comes to a healer, you really don't need to worry too much about, you know, attack. Instead, build her more towards defense, a little bit of resistance, some speed, and you'll go a long way. It means that she won't be doubled up on too much, hopefully. And she does actually, I believe, come with, nope, she comes with Martyr first, which is not the best, but, you know, I mean, Fear's a great idea. Usually when it comes to healers, the one thing that you can always guarantee is that, if you really want the best one, with, like, Rehabilitate and some other nice abilities, you're gonna have to work on them quite a bit. And that's the other problem that I have with healers, is that all of them are like this weird mix match of abilities that I'm not too sure. Oh, I do have a 4-star version of her. Huh. Weird. Anyways, still, nonetheless, right now healers just have too much of a problem trying to participate because of their, you know, the using up of your team slot. And, you know, you might be going, well, here's Lucius. Oh, actually, this is my attack bane Lucius. I want the one that has normal attack. And here's the fun thing about Lucius is that, at least from what I recall about reading from his game, Lucius was actually more of a mage than an actual healer in his game, which I believe was actually Blazing Blade. Yeah, okay. Oh, that was a giggle. Lucius, you know, he's an interesting character, and I'm really gonna kill my recording software. But still, it's very interesting that he has great stat growth, but only in one, you know, only really in attack for the most part. He lacks in, like, I believe it's defense and maybe resistance later on, but his attack for some reason is actually quite high for a healer. And some of you might be going, well, that's a great idea, you know, just give him assault, give him pain, which he has naturally. Granted, pain, you know, maybe not the best, but still, you know, instant 10 damage, you know, after an attack that's guaranteed. That's not a bad idea. But the thing that you don't see here with the whole staves is that, just so we're clear, when it comes to the math, it actually halves most attacks from... In fact, I'm fairly sure all staves do this sort of thing, is that it compares your attack to the other unit's resistance, and then afterwards, it halves that attack. So basically, you are already getting a handicap when it comes down to staff users, because not only will they not do as much damage, but they also, you know, they kind of lack in that department. As you know, especially for something like Lucius here, who, or Lucius, Lucius, oh god, talking sick, not feeling too great, oh god. Still, nonetheless, someone like him is going to be, you know, having a lot more problems than, say, another more fully capable healer. His attack is great, but it's already crippled because of how staves work, or staves, work in this game, because they already half your damage, and it just is not the best. Compare that to, say, Priscilla or Elise, who typically, you know, they have a little bit more defense, and again, Clarine has actually more defense and resistance, I believe, than Elise and even Priscilla here. Priscilla here is another good option in case you want a good cavalry healing unit. The movement speed, or at least the movement, you know, what is the word? Movement radius, that's it. The radius for these units, when it comes to cavalry, is always very nice for healers like this. I just enjoy it more than normal on-foot infantry healers. I really need to replace Sakura here, because leveling up healers is also probably a bit of a problem, but still, nonetheless, I can't really, when someone goes and says, hey, Sages, I want to build a healer, what should I do? I'll be pretty honest, I panic. Because I did a video a while ago, it's like, hey, who's the best healer? And I was just like, everyone! And, you know, that kind of is true for the most part. You could probably take your time, make Lucius an actual real healer who doesn't focus so much on trying to be this attacking mage healing thing. But even then, his stats more dictate what he's supposed to be, so you're gonna have a little bit more problems with it. Honestly, I don't even know if, like, you know, I did risk, I think we've talked about this before, the 20k feathers, not worth it. I don't think it's worth it. Instead, maybe, like, level up a level 3 3-star unit, upgrade them to 4 stars, that way they can inherit more skills, and, you know, in general, when it comes to healers, it's just, oh, it's such a nightmare, because they don't really have too much special about them. I mean, every so often, with other units in other categories, we get an ability or a passive that will make them a little bit more interesting and, you know, something to invest in. The only thing I can really think of is Rise, Riss, whatever you want to call him. His, I think it was Holy Light, or whatever it's called, Heavenly Light. Yeah, I can't have Holy in the game. But still, Holy Light, you know, that's probably the only real ability I can really think of that's actually specific to one character, outside of maybe Mist and her new Spur ability. And granted, that's a nice ability. Spur, you know, Spur defense and resistance +2 is kind of neat. I like that idea, I like the concept, but Mist, honestly, she lacks a lot of stats. And, you know, but then again, you know, healer, all that fun stuff. I mean, honestly, you really shouldn't be pulling for colorless right now. At least right now in the focus summon, because the chances of getting Maria, I mean, I'm sorry, I slipped there. Mist is a little bit higher on the scale, and honestly, your chances are you're going to get a lot more of these staff users than you would any of the bow users that you might want to use. And that's the unfortunate truth here. Outside of, you know, building that one healer that you'll probably use, Clarine, or, you know, Elise, or Priscilla, or, I mean, I guess you can bring along some of these other units if you decide to build them in a specific way, you know, give them a better skill, maybe. I'm not so much sure about Lachesis and things like that, but, you know, if you decide to make another healer, that's great. Start from the lower tiers, that stars don't matter, things like that. Because, honestly, pulling a 5-star healer, especially Mist, is not really something I would recommend. Instead, aim for other colors. Aim for the greens and the reds for this summon, because pulling someone like Mist out of this is, especially considering she's such a mundane healer comparatively to other ones, at least stat-wise and ability-wise, well, there's just a lot to be desired there. I mean, I know people got upset because I sent her home, but I'll be pretty honest. She is just not the best. She's just not even the best healer. She's just... If you get her, great, you know, use her. Do what you will with her. If you're not using a healer and need to build a healing unit, and you get her, by all means use her. But I'll be pretty honest, there are other fish out there in the sea that you might want to use comparatively. And that's just my 2 cents on it. It was probably more ramble right now. I do apologize. Oh boy, I can feel it coming on again. Okay. I need to go and take a bit of NyQuil or something, because I'm not feeling that great. So I'm gonna go and lay down, guys. Tell me what you think about healers. Do you think that they can be changed? Do you think, you know, it would be better to, you know, improve upon them? What healer are you using? Do you use them in other battle modes? Do you use them in arena? What? I want to hear. I'm gonna go now and try not to. Well, I'd rather not describe it. So, see you soon. Thanks for watching.